A film that bravely dares to answer the question, hey, didn't Andrew McCarthy used to be in movies? Jamie?
Yes.
Let's go watch St. Elmo's Fire.
Welcome to our podcast, Good Times, Great Movies, formerly known as Be Kind Rewind.
Nope. This has always been our name.
Yeah, forever.
Definitely. Except if you try and find us on Twitter. I couldn't figure out how to change that.
Well, you know what? We're all about change. We're all about change, transition, like Bruce Jenner, or like the 80s itself. We are all about the change. I am here. I am Jamie. I am one half of this podcast, and I am here with the always dynamic and forever fresh. Can I call you fresh?
Oh, you're building me up way too much with that. But yes, fresh.
Doug. I don't know that I've ever called you Doug.
Like the rapper Doug E. Doug.
Exactly.
Who was in Cool Runnings, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Nice.
The slightly racist Disney movie about Jamaican bobsledders.
Also,
it may have been done in the 80s.
I was just going to say, really, also, it could be a future cast of ours.
Down the line, right? Yeah, that's right. Stay tuned.
So, in this week's episode, we've got a new movie that we have reviewed for your listening pleasure. And truly, this I have never seen this movie in my 80s life.
I am looking forward to talking about this because I had seen this before.
Oh.
I had seen it a long time ago. I was in high school, and my feelings about it when I was in high school, very different than my feelings about it watching it now. These first two movies that we've watched, this is exactly what I wanted out of this entire podcast. I wanted maybe a movie I've never seen before, but was genuinely just thrilled by. And then something I remember being very different than how it actually is. So, yes. So, yeah, last week we did, it was our first podcast. We were podcast virgins, so a movie about virginity. Mm-hmm. And this week, to celebrate the end of school?
Yeah, school is out.
Right?
Yeah, graduation.
My daughter's finishing school next week. My wife teaches. She's finished in a week or two, and
it's that time.
And those college grads.
Oh yes,
those college grads. They're out. They're done. About to enter the cruel world. It's an
terrible. Unjust reality, is what it is. And actually, is it all an illusion? We'll never know. We'll never know if the real world is an illusion or not. Yeah, this crew of graduates. In case you don't know at all. With the setup, the movie is St. Elmos Fire. I love that you have something to compare it to, because it was one of those movies that I had heard a lot about, and everybody's heard about it, but I always thought it looked a little too.
It's a legend.
No, totally. It's one of the when I talk to people about doing an 80s, they're always like about 80s podcasts. They're like, well, St. Elmo's Fire. It's part of that whole, and I think I always thought it was going to be a little too dramatic for my taste, and I wouldn't necessarily say I was wrong.
No. If you're looking for something with no drama, don't watch this. No. Don't get past the 10-second mark because it dives headfirst into terrible drama.
Yes, these characters are riddled with. It's just tough times.
Well, before we get into it, should we go through our cast of characters? Would you like to? Now, there's 7.
Yes.
Last time we didn't have this many characters to keep track of.
I agree. And
There's 7. Now, about half of them don't really do anything, but would you, it's a lot to take on. Do you want to introduce the guys? I'll introduce the girls.
That sounds fair enough.
Give you the more difficult job of introducing 4.
Thanks. Fair enough.
Plus, one of the girls doesn't do anything.
Right.
She has no personality.
None.
But go ahead.
Okay. So we have, and at first it took me a while because I know them as their names. I know Judd Nelson, right? So he's our Alec character. He is, he's kind of the guy that everyone seems to look up to, but he's kind of a womanizing jerk. And, agreed. He's turned Republican and is working for a senator and is, I believe on track to he's on track to be a Republican, a change from what he was in college. He was a Democrat.
He's not the only character to wear suspenders in this movie either. So
true, but so well. One of the characters that you gotta love to hate in this is Billy, the Rob Lowe character. I mean, he's a saxophone playing hot mess is what he is. And I guess because he's Rob Lowe, he's lovable because everybody loves him. But he makes they all make terrible decisions. But Billy really kind of takes the cake.
I feel like he's Rob Lowe in the 80s playing Rob Lowe of the 80s. I feel like it's...
I think this was his setup character for who he was going to be in Hollywood is what I'm assuming. Minus, or maybe with the sax, I don't know.
Right. I feel like then he spent the rest of his career trying not to be this person anymore because it's a terrible person.
It's really hard to like him. Like I said, throughout the movie, I'm like, I just don't know why this group... I don't know how this group functions together, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, so then you have Alec, you have Billy, who are clearly opposites in their personality. You have Kevin, who is Andrew McCarthy, or Andrew McCarthy is Kevin, I suppose. And Kevin is the writer of the group. Very sensitive, always quoting, always, life is an illusion, love is an illusion. I mean, he's full of it. I love it. And then there's an adorable Emilio Estevez, who, we'll get into it later, I'm sure. He's a little psychotic in this movie. He's our good pal Kirby. And Kirby works at a bar. And I think doesn't know if he wants to be a writer or doctor or just a full-time creepy stalker.
No, I think he makes up his mind.
But the four couldn't be more different. But yeah, you're not quite sure. I think Alec and Kirby live together. No. Kevin and Kirby live together. Billy, the kid, has a kid. And Alec is actually in a relationship with one of our lady characters. But it's a tangled web, really, of love in this group. So,
as far as the women goes, there's only 3 girls. I don't know why they didn't keep it even, but Emilio Estevez goes off on his little creepy tangent, so he doesn't really pair off with anyone, which I guess that's why they have uneven numbers. Demi Moore, her character's name is Jules. She's kind of the female Rob Lowe character, right? She's out of control. Yeah. She's always drunk. She's always high. Sort of a drama queen. A lot of fun.
Yes.
Ali Sheedy does nothing.
Oh,
she
she's
does
such a
nothing
dull
through this
character
entire
in this movie. I enjoy Ali Sheedy. I just do.
Yeah, and it's a shame because so many of these people are wasted in this movie, in these parts. I just don't understand it. But she doesn't really do anything except be Alec's girlfriend, I guess. She's an architect, which I didn't know because it's never talked about in the movie at all.
Nope. I thought she just bought couches for a living. I didn't know.
In the gigantic apartment. So, and then the last character is Wendy, played by Mare Winningham. Something like that. And she's the virgin of the group. She sort of dresses like she's a Mennonite. I mean, it's really the fact that these characters hang out together is a total puzzle.
You're not quite sure how they all met. I agree.
An hour into this movie, I was still sitting there going, how are these people friends? Why are they hanging out?
And I don't think...
And she's the most puzzling of them all.
There are some nice side female characters like Andy McDowell. And there is Thelma Fry from, if you're a fan of 80s series like Amen... I don't know the actress's name, but I know she played Thelma in Amen.
Okay, wait a second. Okay, hold on. Before we get into this, let's just start. You did the introduction. You sort of did the synopsis last time, so I'll handle it this time because we'll get to that character, which I wish this movie was about her. I really do. I really do. I wish none of these people were in this. Maybe Andrew McCarthy makes a cameo, but I just wish it was about the prostitute. And the fact that they made the only character who isn't white a prostitute was kind of sad. So, all right, so these 7 recently graduated college, they're cap and gown, arm in arm, so happy. Yeah. Suddenly, smash cut to car accident sirens. They're in a hospital. Yeah. It's terrible. Yeah. And it's immediate.
Yes. As soon as they graduate, then you see that you're going to go from joy to devastation. Now, P.S., did you notice in the opening scene at all the large naked man?
Of course I did. You don't miss that. And it gave me hope that this was just going to be a really wacky movie. And stuff like this might happen from time to time, but it never does.
Well, it did so consistently enough in the first few minutes. Maybe that was the way to draw your attention in, to say, where's more naked butts?
But the weird thing is that Demi Moore is the only one who references this fat naked man standing behind them when she says that that's her date, which I thought was actually pretty good. So anyway, Billy, the Rob Lowe of the movie, was in a car accident with Wendy, the Mennonite.
The Mennonite mousy girl, yeah.
And they're dating?
It's a weird relationship that they have because she's a virgin, so it's not like they're in it for the sex. But they're I think in her mind they're dating, but in his mind she's just...
He is married! With a baby! Which we don't find out till later. Like, I thought maybe he was married and is now divorced. No, he's married, has a baby, is apparently dating her, and as we find out later, any girl who will look at him.
He's a slut, so he's all over the map with his...
And I think this all takes place, and we'll get into the one holiday that's referenced, Halloween. I think this all takes place from September to November, maybe? Yes. Because there's no reference to Thanksgiving or Christmas or Mayor Wenningham. She's Jewish, but they don't talk about Hanukkah. So I think this entire movie takes place in about 2.5 months, which is crazy.
It's an intense 2.5 months. And to think that it's right after they graduated, you just think, wow, this group just jumped right into real life. They didn't, I mean, truth be told, Rob Lowe gets a DUI.
He gets a DUI. He makes a terrible sax pun when he asks the girl if she believes in premarital sex. Those are the kind of jokes in this movie, which isn't funny. It's really not. And at the hospital, Emilio Estevez sees Andie MacDowell, recognizes her, says, "Hey, remember me?" She does not at all. She doesn't remember him. Even after he says his name, says that they went on a date.
Yes, they saw a movie together. Yeah.
She still doesn't know who he is.
Well, and then she's busy. She's got to take children and heal them because she literally, to show that she's a doctor, she holds up, like, I think a small African-American baby and rushes through the emergency room with it. Like, gotta go.
This is actually one of 2 times in this movie when she walks through the emergency room doors, the movie fades to white as though something really important is happening or a character has just died, and it's not. Nothing important happens at all. But she actually gets... The theme music starts on her character, which I thought was amazing.
That is true,
What would you call it if the movie's called St. Elmo's and the song's called St. Elmo's? What would you say that song is? Is that the...
I think it's called St. Elmos Fire. I think that's...
No.
Oh, it's the titular. I see what you're trying to say. I'm like, it's all called the same thing.
Because it's wonderful because... The movie's called St. Elmo's Fire. The music starts. Then suddenly they're at a bar called St. Elmo's Fire. Like, all at once. It just all intersects. And yes, that's the bar that they go to. That's the bar that Emilio Estevez works at. So they're all back at that bar because Mayor Winningham has bailed him out of jail. You assume this isn't the first time this has happened.
No, the DUIs or the bailouts. Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
Yes. We find out a little bit about our characters. Alec shoves Billy's head in the toilet because Billy lost a job that Alec got him.
Right.
And they think that's hilarious. He's totally cool with that guy shoving his head in a dirty, disgusting public toilet at a bar. At a bar!
I have to tell you, if I'm pissed at someone, that's a nice... I mean, that's saying... F you, friend. In the toilet, shaking it out.
We also find out, and I thought that this was interesting, that Kevin, the writer of the group, writes for the newspaper. He writes for the obituaries, which I thought the families wrote the obituaries.
Not in St. Elmos Fire. Not in his world.
They're outside of D.C.
Yeah, they just graduated from Georgetown.
They all went to Georgetown, which I'm assuming is a pretty difficult school. Is it a good school?
It is a good school. Yeah, it's a very good school. Great for lawyers and architects. And
how did Rob Lowe go there? I don't understand this.
I don't know.
How did he go there, and how did he graduate? He should be like 8 years older than the rest of them.
Well, maybe that's why he's got the kid and stuff. I mean, who knows? He's got a wife and kid.
He might have been married.
Yeah.
His junior year, he got married. Yeah, they went to Georgetown. Also, fun fact about this movie. Georgetown, the people in charge of Georgetown, I'm going to call him Mr. Georgetown, read the script and said, you are not filming on our campus. So they had to film the school scenes at the University of Maryland.
That is an awesome fun fact.
So they're all at the bar, they're all drinking, and then we are introduced to Alec and Leslie's apartment. So they're living together, they're not engaged, they're just dating, I guess, and seem to have been dating for a very long time. But they have a giant apartment.
It's huge. It is just a huge brick loft. Where I don't know, I guess, but
just giant,
and it's empty.
Space.
Yeah, it's empty. They have to fill it up because their love is new, and he is eager to be wed. And
he definitely
she's a modern woman, and she wants to take her time and work on herself and her career.
Jules comes over with some drama. I don't remember what her stepmother, she calls her step monster.
Yes.
Again, premarital sex. Step monster. These are the puns that are going to go throughout this entire movie. She says step monster. I'm going to say 75 times in this movie.
Even when she yes.
But she comes over and sleeps on their floor. Remember he drags out like a mattress.
Right. That's right. And he's the therefore guy. Come on, we got to help Jules. Okay, reluctantly. All right.
It seems like they don't really want anything to do with her.
No, well, the girls do.
And they don't want anything to do with Rob Lowe. I don't know why these people are in their lives, and they don't care about Wendy at all.
It's a shame. That's what I mean. It's a damn shame about that, Wendy.
So
Sweet little
we're introduced to their apartment. We're also introduced to Kevin and Kirby's apartment. Yeah. Emilio Estevez and...
Andrew McCarthy.
Andrew McCarthy, yes.
Yes.
And this is when we find out that Kirby has a increasingly insane obsession with Andie MacDowell. He tells Billy, no, not Billy. Whatever, Kevin.
Yeah.
He tells Andrew McCarthy that he got her hospital schedule. How do you do that? Did he write it down? Did he find it, like, posted on the wall? Did he ask someone at the hospital?
At some point.
And did they give him that information?
No one ever his infatuation increases obviously through the movie, and there's no care. No one in the group of friends, no one ever seems alarmed by it. Even the person he stalks, Andie MacDowell, is only moderately alarmed by the fact that he becomes full blown obsessed. And this is where we're introduced to that. You're right.
I'm shocked that she's never terrified.
No,
because she has every right to be.
She handles it very well with style and grace, like the doctor she is, I suppose.
So after we're sort of introduced to our characters and where they live, except for Wendy, because nobody cares about her.
We know where Jules lives. I'm sorry, I just had to interrupt you quick.
We're introduced to Jules' apartment, which is the greatest.
Jules' apartment is just as fabulous as her gay neighbor. I mean, she's got the bright pink apartment, the gold vase. She's got Billy Idol's face, like, sketched on her wall. Everything, countertops pink. It's like I guess, I think it's in that scene where she puts on a bathrobe when she walks in, and even her bathrobe has shoulder pads. So she's just, the 80s is vomited all over with
it's disgusting. Her apartment is terrible. It's the worst part of this movie is that apartment. And Andrew McCarthy, who she invites over, seems appalled by the apartment as well. He's not enjoying himself there. He says it's very pink, and I guess that's a joke too. I don't know. But she calls him over to accuse him of being gay?
Oh, the gay intervention she wants to have with him. Yes. Yeah, that's a weird, I guess because we just want to know, we want it to be clear to the audience that his character has never hit on anyone. And maybe that's what it is? I don't know.
But again, this seems to come out of nowhere. There's nothing building up to his character being gay or them thinking that he's gay or anything like that. And she just comes out of nowhere and says this. The best part of this is as he's leaving, she goes back and forth. Without pausing, she says, "Look at me in this robe. I will introduce you to my gay neighbor, Ron," which is either a mistake in the script or a very bizarre line read by her. I don't know what she's trying to make him do. I think she's confused. I don't know if this is the first time we're supposed to be like, oh, she's on coke, definitely.
Oh, right. Maybe this is when we realize how heavy drug use she's really into.
That's right.
Which is possible. This is when we get to see the high side, if you will.
Well, also, every scene in this movie, it's like, okay, we're with these characters, then we're with these, then we're with these, then we're back to these. And it's sort of a round-robin thing.
Right.
Except for this, because we have this bizarre scene of her pink apartment, then suddenly she's at work.
Yes.
And she...
And again, what does she do? She answers phones. She's a receptionist. She smokes a lot in her cubicle. I noticed that.
She smokes a lot. She has giant glasses and a tie/scarf thing on. She looks like she's working on Wall Street, but that's not right. We're not in the right state or city or anything like that. But the best is she's very excited to be getting paid, but the woman says she's advanced on her salary by 2 months. 2 months.
To pay for that pink apartment. All that pink doesn't come cheap. Don't you know?
Yeah, and then, and she begs for her check, and the lady says she has to talk to somebody. What's the guy's name? You know it. I don't.
Forrester.
Forrester, yes. And in case we, the viewers, aren't sure who that is, when the lady walks away, Demi Moore goes, "The president of the bank?" She's not talking to anyone but herself and letting us know who this guy is, just in case we're confused. Then, this movie's insane. This is absolutely crazy. Then suddenly Kirby announces that he's going to med school now. He was going to go to law school while working at St. Elmo's. Right. But now he's going to med school because Andie MacDowell's a doctor.
It's a great way to kind of end up with your obsession. Study what she studies. Become her.
Right. Go to school for 4 more years to get a job, maybe at the same hospital that she works at. This woman that forgot about you 2 years after you dated.
Right.
Kevin goes to Alec's apartment, and he's cooking vegetables with Leslie. Yeah, they're kind of flirting, kind of. This is when you start to realize, oh, he's not gay. He's just really into his friend's girlfriend, right? And Alec comes back and admits that he slept with a saleswoman.
Well. Now, he doesn't admit it to everyone. Right?
No. He just tells Kevin.
Well, he comes home, and this was interesting to me, too, he comes home with a gift for her, and it's a nightie in a bag. And now it looks like the friends are getting ready to have a dinner together, but he's just bought her a nightie and wants her to go put it on, and then tells Kevin to just keep stirring the vegetables while they go get it on. However, you're right. While she's going to try the nightie on, interrupting their dinner plans, I guess. Yes. Then Alec confesses to Kevin that he's
he says that the sales girl offered to try this on for him,
which I thought only happens in like Playboy magazine stories. Like that's not a real. When does the
I was going to say, I think I saw it in like Married with Children or something like that, which probably isn't the most reliable place to find out any information on what actually happens at stores. So, and this is when. I don't know if they ate dinner. I don't know if he just left.
Right.
But he's walking home and he meets a prostitute. Who, this is not their first encounter either.
No.
This is the first time we're seeing them talk, but she knows who he is.
It's almost like every one of our characters has weird stalker obsessions. Of course, our Emilio Estevez takes it to the extreme. But it's like, it is kind of like Paul McCartney, Andrew McCartney is
Paul McCartney.
So, yeah, he stalked this. He seeks her advice almost, or her wisdom, or her soft touch to his lips in a seductive way.
Yeah, she's only in 2 scenes.
Right.
And she's the most level-headed character in this. And really does speak wisdom. Not necessarily with their first encounter, which I thought was great because, like, this I thought was legitimately funny when she assumes that he is gay, which I think is great. I'm like, wow, he's really setting off a gay vibe that I have not picked up on yet.
Yes.
But these people know him much better than I do.
Right.
Yes. So he says, I'm not gay. He shares a bottle of booze with her, which I thought was a little creepy.
Yes, she's a prostitute. You don't know where those books have been.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he's also drinking like a homeless person. It's just in a brown paper bag, and they're just taking swigs off of it, talking.
But to be fair, he's probably hungry. He was supposed to have dinner at his friend's house. They've all decided to have sex and confessed their infidelities to him. So, it's a hard night. You got to seek the prostitute to, level you out.
So from that scene, we go to another really great scene.
Oh.
And that's where Jules calls Alec in the middle of the night. And did you write down the line?
Oh, I sure did.
Oh, okay. All right, would you like to do it?
I want to, because this is one of my favorite. Like, this is when the movie gets random, it just gets random. I'm with Arabs who have been forcing me to do coke all night. I'm with Arabs who have been forcing me to do coke all night.
Now wait, that's not the whole line. After that, she says, "I'm not sure because I don't know much Arabic, but I think I heard the words gangbang."
Yes, that's right.
So she doesn't know a lot of Arabic. She knows some and enough to know the words gangbang, which blew my mind.
Well, when you're learning a
this.
foreign language and you do a lot of coke, it's best to learn some of the terms that you might be familiar with.
Yes.
Blow, gangbang.
And I love it too because she is in a panic.
Oh yeah,
she is in a panic, and as a viewer, you're worried about her safety.
And you're not quite sure this is as a viewer. I was like, whoa, this really got crazy really fast.
Because I expect Alec to jump out of the bed and to run out. No, it's just very, okay, I'll come and get you. So then you start to feel like this is not the first time this has happened.
Yeah.
And he shows up and guys, it should be super offensive to anyone of Middle Eastern descent because these guys are in full garb and they're just sitting around watching TV.
Yeah.
She's the only one up and doing coke. The other guys are just sitting watching TV. And I love how Alec says, these guys don't strike me as the gangbang type.
It's almost as if she's just stumbled upon them in her coke binge.
Her character, I would want a movie of just her character because I don't know how she got into this situation. Why did she pick these guys up at a bar? Did she just run around this hotel knocking on doors?
That's what I imagined, that she sort of
Is
stumbled
the coke theirs? Did she bring it with her? Because then he wants to take her home and she says, I'm not letting all this good coke go to waste. And she calls some random dude on the phone.
She uses the payphone, yes, to call some random guy that she knows they'll enjoy the coke together because he doesn't want to. He's got to work in the morning. Some of us are responsible, Jules,
Well, speaking of responsible, we then actually are kind of introduced to Wendy for the first time. We really haven't been paying much attention to her, but we find out that she works at a welfare office. she's such a good, nice character to be around these other people, and I don't understand it. But yes,
this probably the nicest character in the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. And Billy shows up. Rob Lowe shows up. And she says something like, "Shouldn't you be at work?" He's never at work.
No.
I think he's lost several jobs by this point, and it's been about 2 days since the car accident. And then they go to her parents' house.
Yes, for dinner. For dinner, yes.
Where her parents refer to him as her boyfriend, and she says, "He's not my boyfriend." I don't understand the relationship.
It's really confusing. It's very confusing.
I don't know what she's getting out of it. I don't know what he's getting out of it. Well, he's getting money, clearly. He's getting money.
Oh, true. She does financially support him quite a bit.
Yes. She says, "Here's your rent money before he leaves."
That's true. And she definitely has a crush on him. I mean, she's the super good girl, and he's the super bad boy, so she's infatuated, and he's kind enough to pay her attention, but he's really not that nice to her.
But he's not mean to her either.
Well, to be fair, he's the same jerk to everybody. He is the same kind of,
There's hold on, I have another fun fact here. A lot of people, Joel Schumacher, who's the director, who also made terrible Batman movies, he said on the director commentary, which I didn't listen to, but I kind of want to. He said a lot of people turned down the script. And ahead of a major studio called the 7-member cast the most loathsome humans he'd ever read on a page.
Oh, my goodness.
And I kind of disagree with that because they're not terrible people. They're terribly boring.
Oh, I have to tell you, I don't think they're good people. They're all kind of jerks.
They're very self-absorbed.
Yes,
and that's their problem.
Yes. They're just, none of them strike me to be anybody I don't know how they're friends with each other. I don't know how they have friends. None of them seem, yes, they're just all except of course Wendy.
Right, yes.
Who
is a good character. And I don't understand, again, why she's with these people. But anyway, there are a couple scenes in this movie that I actually enjoyed and a couple parts where I actually did laugh out loud.
Okay.
And this dinner was one part. I love how her mother whispers words that are too horrible to say. Like when he
does drugs. Yes.
The part that I thought was funny was when she asks him where he met Wendy, and he goes, "Prison." I thought that was legitimately funny, and it actually made me laugh while I was watching this. But it is a good scene, too, because then after dinner, he goes out on the roof, and her family is up in arms. They don't know what's going on.
Who's ever been on the roof before? They are, but then they... so when they're first...
He sits on the roof. He discusses suicide, which is not the only time this will be discussed or maybe happen in this movie. And then they kind of make out for a little bit.
She responds to that suicide isn't her. She wouldn't think about suicide if she's still a virgin. Not while I'm still a virgin. So that brings up that whole conversation. And I think that she thinks that that's what they're going to do now but she's not comfortable with it, essentially, right?
No, she's not, because he pinches her Spanx, right? I don't know if they had Spanx
she
in
had
the 80s.
Quite a lot of undergarment on, and he, again, not kind. But I think he says to her then, "You're allowed to have fun when you're screwing." Like,
right, yes.
Because he laughed at her and her outfit.
He is laughing it up. He
just
thinks it's hilarious.
He's just been on the roof.
He calls it her school suit, which is very, very insulting. But it is funny because at one point early on, when they're at the bar, she talks about how her thighs are really big.
Yes, that's true. So maybe they are Spanx. Because she does. She looks in the mirror and she complains to Jules about how fat her thighs are.
Right. And I assume this was written into the script for her because her character, well, not her character, she was pregnant while they filmed this.
Oh!
Yes. She was the oldest one in the cast.
Makes sense.
She was in her early 30s. Everybody else, I think Rob Lowe was 19. He was the youngest. Ooh. So as far as age goes, they were kind of on point with the casting, which was pretty good.
Yeah. This, I have to say before we move on from this particular scene, this exit, Rob Lowe, when they have their final discussion, they have a fight. She doesn't want him, around. He kind of makes fun of her for being a virgin. It's really, again, it makes you really not like him. But he has the longest exit. When he leaves her place, he looks up at the stairs at her and then turns back around at the door that they're looking at. And this is all almost in slow motion. And when he finally goes to walk out the door, he opens the door and this great big wind comes and brushes him. He's leaving and you could tell this is upsetting. It's epic.
Had it not been the 45-minute mark, I thought the movie was over. I'd be like, wow, this is a weird ending, because again it fades to white.
Yes.
And the best is he swings this door open and doesn't close it behind him. That door's open all night long because everybody else went to bed.
Right. Now mind you, this was just the family,
and there's just a pile of cash sitting on the banister too, because she wanted to pay his rent and he didn't take the money.
That's right. This was the family that was just earlier concerned that they were all on the roof. Later has no idea that she just almost lost her virginity, and but it is not the end of the movie, because I think next is he's playing, we're at a party, right? Essentially?
Well, we're in a Halloween party at St. Elmo's, I guess.
But it's a weird Halloween party. We only know it's a Halloween party because some people have ears on their heads. A couple people have some goofy, the glasses with the mustache mask. And there's one sign that says Happy Halloween. It's not
Rob Lowe's wearing a shirt with bats on it, so...
Right.
I mean...
Of course. It's the Halloween bash at St. Elmos Fire.
And he is playing the saxophone like a boss. I mean, he is killing it.
I did not know that sax players were the lead players. I didn't know. I thought, a band had to have a singer to, really get people into it. It's just the band and the sax.
And no, he's front and center. He is sweaty. Demi Moore is straddling a jukebox, dancing like a lunatic. She's dressed like Madonna. And I don't know if that's a Halloween costume or not. That might just be what she wears.
No. I think that's just Jules' outfit. Yeah.
Just doing some wonderful research. There is a 9-minute thing you can find on YouTube, behind the scenes of this. And Rob Lowe talks about how he learned to play the sax for this movie. Yes. Then, years later, he said, I didn't really learn how to play the sax for this movie.
Oh! Denied, Rob Lowe, you fat liar.
And it does not look like he's playing the sax at all. It is a really bad performance. The best is at one point he jumps up on the stage and yells out, "Let's rock!" And it sounds so terrible. And I really tried to find that online to isolate it. I can't find it anywhere because it's the worst line. It's so bad. And then, what does he do? What happens then?
His wife shows up.
Yeah, we finally meet his wife.
Yes,
and she is not attractive.
No, it's very weird. She's very weird looking.
She's very plain Jane. She looks like she stepped out of the Dust Bowl in the 1930s. And their house, that shack, again, looks like a Depression-era shack.
Yeah, but he's never there enough, at least it seems like. I don't know. But she shows up with another man, which for all his cheating and having dinner at Wendy's house, he does not want to see his wife with another man. Now that just boils his blood. Boils that saxophone playing blood. He starts
a fight. He said that he should have had a vasectomy at birth, which I thought was weird. And
he kind of goes off with advice about...
he gets thrown out of St. Elmo's, which I think that's the last time they're in the bar.
Well, they all get fired. If you remember, the bar owner is like, "You're fired, and you're out of here, and everybody's fired."
I love how they all get fired. Where only one of them's working there. The other guy's in a band that... who's paying them to play? There's no way they're getting paid for that gig.
Not. It's just for the Halloween bash, really.
Yeah, but then he and his wife make up in the parking lot, which is weird.
Yeah. It's like they fight. It's kind of their nature of their relationship, I guess. She just likes to fight with him, and then they reunite. And of course, all of this happens before Wendy's poor eyes, and you can't feel nothing but sympathy for the girl.
Yeah. She's dating some nerd now. So,
she dates a Jewish nerd because she gets a Chrysler LeBaron for dating him from her father or something like that. There's an arrangement.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit strange, but she got a car. Yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Because if she didn't get that car, how would Emilio Estevez drive up to the mountains later to stalk Andie MacDowell? So anyway, and then from there, this movie's so weird. Wendy's volunteering at a soup kitchen, and Jules and Leslie come by to eat with the homeless.
But ignore the homeless is essentially what they do. They make no attempt.
They're not terrible people. They're so self-absorbed. They sit around a bunch of homeless people and talk about their white people problems. Like, it's so dumb. Yes.
And there's literally a woman sitting next to, like, a very sad old homeless-looking lady sitting next to Jules, while Jules is going off about being, like, a bag lady and how she doesn't want to. And so she's
Jules turning around at the end of the scene and just saying, "Fuck you, you homeless bitch," and then leaving. Exactly. Like, that's the only thing missing from this scene, because they don't care.
But what this scene is actually the intervention for Jules. So the girls, Leslie and Wendy, just stage this intervention because Jules is really flying off the handle now. Because she's dating her boss. She's in crazy debt, even though she's dating the boss. And, of course, there's the coke habit that she just can't stop putting the powder up her nose. And she does not care. She is a woman of the 80s, and this is the better time than any to do it, and she doesn't want to be a bag lady. So their outfits, actually, the girls' wardrobe in this, oh my God. We have somebody in, I think she's turtleneck and overalls together. Maybe it's a button-down and overalls. They're Ali Sheedy's wearing like a doily at one point. It's very, very confusing fashion. But yes. Oh, we also find out here. Is this where we find out that Billy is working for a Korean gangster?
Yeah, but I guess they had said something about that, but I think I missed that part about Billy, because then there's a random scene of him in a hot tub with some woman, and Asian man walks in.
The Korean gangster that he works for,
Cut to different scene. Nothing comes of that. It's never spoken about again.
No, it was just to have a hot tub scene for Rob Lowe, I think. I'm not sure what that was about.
And again, he's in that hot tub with some other random woman. It's so dumb, and it's just, I don't know. Anyway, then we go, and nothing is resolved at this intervention either. She basically says, "Oh, I'm fine, don't worry about me." She also says, "Oh, did you know that cremation costs as much as an actual burial?" Which I don't think is true at all.
Well, she's trying to figure out, I don't know that her step monster ever dies, but she's constantly preparing for the step monster's death. Correct?
Well, she really wants her dead. She wants her dead, and is always talking about her, which it kind of pays off in the end, just a little bit.
Right,
but yeah, nothing comes of this intervention.
No.
Nothing comes of this scene. Again, if the purpose of it is to say, look, there are homeless people, there are real problems, look how terrible these characters are. Okay, I get it. But I don't know that that's the purpose of the scene. No, I really don't.
No.
I don't know that this movie is that smart or self-aware. So then, this is another really good. See, I keep talking about how bad this movie is, and then I talk about good scene after
how
good scene.
The scenes are. Well, is this?
This is when Kirby is stalking Andie MacDowell.
Oh, this plot line, this Kirby and this stalking, really, it's another thing that could, just like Jules is upset, it could be a thing of itself. This could be a movie of itself.
Yeah, and I feel bad. I feel like Emilio Estevez got really saddled with he looks the worst in this movie. This obsession makes him look like a total creepo.
Oh, this is the scene where he really creeps out, and they allow him to.
She's at a party, and he's watching her in the rain. He's standing in the rain. He
bikes to her in the rain. Yeah.
He's on a bicycle for some reason.
In the pouring rain. And well, because he didn't get the LeBaron yet.
He walks into this party that she's at,
soaking wet,
everybody's dressed to the nines.
Yeah, it's a big doctor party. I mean,
she asks him how he is, and he says, "I'm obsessed, thank you very much," which she should call the police.
She is never alarmed. She is not alarmed at all. She turns around from her little fancy buffet table, and just this drenched guy in front of her, and she's just like, "How are you?"
She takes him back to her apartment then.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And another great part is when when he's smelling her pillow.
and the
roommate looks at him.
Well, this is what she takes him back to the apartment to prove to him that she's like, I don't take out the trash. My roommate doesn't even like me. And the roommate's like, I don't like you. Right on cue. She's trying to prove to him that she's unstock worthy, I guess. But rule number 1, when someone comes to you soaking wet at a party and tells you he's obsessed with you, you don't invite him to your house, Andie MacDowell.
And telling him that you don't take out the garbage. You look like Andie MacDowell and you're a doctor.
Right.
It's not going to turn him away to say, oh, sometimes I don't take out the garbage.
My homely looking roommate doesn't like me.
Right. My homely-looking roommate is insanely jealous of me, the way I look and my profession.
Right.
And she hates me for it. Of course she does. So at the end of this, what he gets out of this, because he's brain damaged, I'm assuming, is that she doesn't want him because he doesn't have money. And he's very appreciative for her telling him that, which she did not tell him that.
No.
And he says, thank you very much. Now I understand. I don't have money. And he leaves and seems really happy about this.
Yeah, he's satisfied. He got the answers he needs.
So what does he do about this? He throws a fancy party at someone else's house.
At the Korean, because then he gets a job for the Korean gangster.
Why does this guy keep hiring these stupid kids? Like,
I don't know.
Was he a reference on Rob Lowe's resume? And he's like, oh, that guy who was just banging chicks in my hot tub. I'll hire his friend. That seems like a great idea.
I think somehow Alec in the Republican office knows the Korean gangster. I think he's hooking them up with all these jobs.
And for as terrible as he is for cheating on his girlfriend, these friends of his are ruining his political career.
True.
So he throws this party for Andie MacDowell, who doesn't show up. He's calling the hospital.
Yes.
He goes to her apartment and threatens to, I'm going to say, murder her roommate.
You don't know what
He
I'll
says
do
something
to
like,
you.
I will not be responsible for what I do to you if you don't tell me where she is. So she tells him where she is.
And where is she? She's in the...
She's skiing with her boyfriend or fiance. I don't know.
Yeah. In the snowy mountains, in somewhere far, far away, you assume.
So he leaves this party that he's throwing. There's a ton of people at this party, by the way. I don't know who all these people are. But also at this party, what's her name? Leslie finds out that Alec's been cheating on her. She has a
big
hunch.
Fight. Yes.
He thinks that, what's his name?
Paul McCartney.
Andrew McCarthy.
Andrew McCarthy.
Told her, but he didn't tell her.
A fist fight ensues because he is so angry he hits.
It's the best fist fight this movie has, which is one punch thrown and one guy falls to the ground.
True.
Yeah, and she says, no, he didn't tell me. I was just guessing, which...
Right. The cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty educated guess there.
Right. Yeah, so everyone's lives are falling apart, essentially.
It's a mess. And then
happening.
we cut back to Kirby, and he goes to the cabin in the woods.
Yes.
She's there with her boyfriend. He's upset by this and surprised by this. He is really surprised when some guy answers the door. Because the guy's like, who are you? And he's like, who the hell are you?
That's right.
And the best is when she walks up and goes, Kirby.
Yeah, she's happy to see him.
Right.
Again.
This is
Not
the dumbest doctor ever.
Yeah.
So he can't leave because he parked in the snow.
Right.
And he can't drive away.
That Chrysler LeBaron doesn't have good traction.
Right. So they invite him to sleep over.
Smart move.
She tells him to wear her boyfriend's pajamas, which he doesn't like that at all.
No.
I don't know if you noticed
that. This is very uncomfortable for him.
He's got his arms crossed, and she kind of puts them on his shoulder. And after she leaves the room, he just kind of like nudges them off until the pajamas
He's so
fall.
Unhappy. He didn't drive all this way. I don't know what he expected to find, but he didn't drive all this way. He thought that she would be alone in the lodge, just waiting for him to show up. But
this is a long scene too, because it doesn't end there, because we're still there the next day when he's leaving.
This is a weird goodbye.
This is the dumbest part and best part. It's the worst. Let's say it's the worst. I don't know. Would you please tell us what happens, because this is just insane.
So he goes to leave, and he doesn't want, this is not the way he pictured things going down. And again, she is ever sensitive to him and his needs. I think is hugging him goodbye. They all walk him to the car. The boyfriend goes inside to get the camera, because of course you're gonna want, when your stalker comes up to see you, the first thing you want to do before he leaves you is get a little Polaroid of the two of you together.
Why would he say this? Why would the boyfriend suggest this? If she did it, I'd understand, because she's Looney Tunes, clearly.
No, but the
if
boyfriend
Emilio
is just
Estevez said it, yeah, that makes sense, because he's nutty too.
Well, this is his opportunity, though. The guy's inside, boyfriend's inside getting the Polaroid, so he doesn't want to let this opportunity go, the curbster, so he gives Andie MacDowell this passionate kiss that dips and blows her away, and she really is blown away by this kiss. She's like, maybe this was a mistake. The Polaroid is taken, she gets a copy, she can't, even the Polaroid.
I did like that part, because the boyfriend hands the psycho stalker the Polaroid. He hands it to her.
Right.
Which I thought was really great. And then he's all happy, and he gets in his car and drives away.
He knows he did what he had to do. He came, he saw, he's now this lingering effect on her mind. That's everything he wanted. Creepy.
And the last thing to say before we never talk about Emilio Estevez again, because that's it. His character's
right, after
finished.
This, right, exactly.
I don't know if you noticed, but when she looks at the Polaroid, neither of them are looking at the camera. They're both looking off to the side, which is really strange.
To their future together, of course.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, Emilio Estevez leaves. His character's arc is finished, and that's it.
Yes.
So
Very bizarre.
Leslie's really bummed. She goes to Kevin for some support.
Yes.
And he supports her by having sex with her all over the apartment.
Oh,
they're in the kitchen.
Sex.
They're in the living room.
The
they're
whole
in bed.
time
they're
she's
in the
got a
shower.
double strap pearls on her, and the pearls never leave her neck. He has a creepy coffin that he keeps in their apartment. At a certain point, I think they have sex on the coffin as well. They are just like bunnies. But this is because now it's not just Kirby that has obsessions, because we also find out that Kevin has pictures of Leslie, in a box. And one of the reasons that everyone thinks he's gay is because he's really obsessed with her. And they get drunk together, and he confesses that to her. And in that confession comes this mad, passionate lovemaking scene that is way out of control. It's everywhere. And like I said, the pearls, and they break the shower, which is hilarious.
The shower, which I thought was kind of funny. It was, again, another part of this where she started laughing. It seems like that was not intentional, that it just sort of happened during the scene.
True. It was
and she laughed. It was a nice scene.
Right.
So then the next day, Alec comes over, and he finds out, and he's upset. She's upset. The end of that. It's the end of that, because this is the big ending. This is the big emotional ending of this. They find out that Jules is in serious trouble.
Big trouble. Big high trouble.
We find out that the repo men came. They took
all
everything.
of her furniture. Every pink morsel and gold lamp.
And what I thought was great, too, is apparently they took that big painting of Billy Idol or just came in and painted over it. Said, you don't even deserve to have this, and they just painted pink over it. Because
the
apartment
she once has, the apartment she once has is bare.
Yep.
Looks like a crack den.
Right.
Now.
She was fired 3 weeks ago and has been pretending to go to work. She's locked herself in her apartment and is attempting to commit suicide.
By freezing herself. She's got her face in front of a fan, I think. It's very cold where she is.
It's extremely cold. Nobody else seems to be that cold, though.
No.
They're outside. No. They're not even inside. She's inside.
She's locked herself in, and they can't... This smart group
She hasn't even removed clothes. She's still wearing, a big, giant T-shirt.
Yes.
But she has the windows open. It must be fall, so it's kind of chilly, I guess. I'm confused as to what they never talk about pills. They never talk about her having cut her wrists. This is her suicide attempt, and it's the only thing I can think is that she's hoping to catch pneumonia and die several weeks later.
Yes.
It's so dumb.
Maybe she wants to die next to her stepmonster in the hospital. I don't know. But yeah, she's trying to commit suicide by...
Leslie says, you're going to freeze to death. And Kevin says, I think that's the point. But again, they're not even wearing jackets. They're outside.
I've never heard of anyone committing death by total freeze out or committing suicide by total freeze out. So her methods are very unusual. But
also, her apartment has bars on the windows.
It's a dangerous area for as expensive as it is.
The fire escape leads up to these windows, so that seems dangerous to me.
Yeah.
To have bars that you can't get through to get out to a fire escape.
True. So even though they all climb the fire escape in hopes of saving her, that is not the way in.
Yes, nobody goes to the door to her apartment either for a long time.
No.
And if this was to happen to you, if you were to see a friend who was apparently trying to commit suicide, well, how would you handle it? What would be the first thing you would do? No, I'm genuinely curious because what they do is bonkers.
Well, first of all, I would find my wackiest friend and send them in to make sure that friend can console them. You know, if there's anybody, it's the loose cannon in the group that's going to talk the most sense to the person that's on the edge.
Would you tell that crazy friend to bring a blowtorch first? Would you tell him to go and grab a blowtorch and get it from a gas station and bring it with him?
That's right.
Or would you maybe call the police and say our friend's locked herself in the apartment? So you said they sent Billy in to talk to her.
Yes.
And how does he sort of talk her down? What does he do? Does he?
Oh, this is a very poetic, very kind of it's, if you will, it's a titular monologue. This is where he explains to her it's about the St. Elmos Fire. And what life is. Now, she's distraught. She's a mess. And there's a weird, giant... Is it a unicorn head? No, it's a clown head in the room with her at the time. It's just like a mattress and this giant clown head and then the two of them. How does he explain the St. Elmo's Fire? And what is her reaction to it then? He essentially explains that St. Elmo's Fire is it's this illusionary kind of a thing and we're all just going through life and it's not real. That the St. Elmo's Fire is kind of a... Yeah,
I didn't understand it. I really didn't. I tried to understand it. I tried to care what he was talking about. I really didn't. The only thing that I paid attention to was the fact that she had said that she really didn't want her stepmonster to die. She wanted her to tell her why her dad never loved her. It was a whole big mess. And he has an aerosol can, and he's blowing fire in the air. He's also wearing leg warmers and 2 different colored Converse Chucks.
His fashion sense throughout the whole thing. There's another scene that he's in. Again, there's a scene that when he attempts to kind of rape Jules, when he drives her home, or she drives him home, and he hides the keys in his pants. But he hides the keys in his pants so easy because he's wearing sweatpants. So his choice of fashion is I don't understand it, but he's a bad boy. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he hides keys in his sweatpants. Wouldn't they just fall right down his leg, right out the bottom?
But he just drops them in, and he's like, yeah, that's a weird scene to me. Where that's when I'm like, I don't think that I even like this character, Billy, or any of them enough to care what happens to them. You know?
That's a weird scene too, because I'm like, wait a second. These two went to college together and they didn't have sex a lot?
It seems obvious. Why are you just trying now? Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And this all happens outside of his home that he lives in with his wife and his baby, of course. He's just a terrible person in this whole
Okay. Well, you talked about the giant clown head, and the thing that I thought was great about the giant clown head was Repo Man came and took everything. Except, like you said, a mattress and a giant clown head, which means she brought that with her. She had that. She had that growing up, I'm assuming. She took that to college with her.
Maybe it was a gift from her terrible dad who never loved her.
Yeah, that means something to her. And
right.
Yeah, and then she's fine. And then everything's fine. Mm-hmm. You know, the two guys are fighting over Leslie. She hasn't made up her mind. Maybe she'll go off with Kevin. Maybe she'll stay with Alec. She doesn't know. But can they all still be friends? Of course.
Of course they can.
Not a problem.
Why wouldn't they? Yeah.
Billy leaves. Billy goes to New York.
Yeah, he's going to...
I assume he's dead within 3 years.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, that's the beauty of it. He goes to New York. He's got to move on. He's got a career in leading, playing the sax, I guess.
That's right, yes. No, he hawked his sax, remember?
Oh, that's right. I'm sure she gave him money.
To pay his electric bill or something.
Yes.
And the best is, before he leaves, he and Wendy have a conversation. And he says to her, he considered being one of those weekend dads, but no, he's just going to abandon his wife and child.
Yeah, better to do that. Yeah, that's not him.
It's better for his girl, for him to get up and just
disappear.
Leave.
To just disappear.
He's terrible. He's terrible.
But the group sees him off to New York.
They do. And, they see him off, and that's it, the end, right?
Well, then, of course, it's a beautiful ending, of course. They go to St. Elmos Fire, the bar, and you know what? It's only been 3 months since they've graduated college, maybe 6 tops, but it's time to turn a new leaf, and no longer do they hang out at the bar. They're going for brunch. They're going for brunch.
They're meeting at noon. That's stated for some reason. They make a big deal about what time they're meeting. And also, they all got kicked out of that place. They're not allowed back in there. That guy's not going to let them back in.
No, they're a hot mess. I don't want them in my life, let alone in my bar.
No.
So,
and they do. Yeah. They all leave. I guess everything is resolved. I guess Jules isn't a coke addict anymore.
Yeah, you're not sure if she's sobered up or not, or
I don't know. What are your overall impressions of the movie? Like, what was your overall thought when you were done with this?
I guess I felt that if I watched it at the time, and that's why I'm interested that you said that you had. If I watched it at the time and I was of that age, perhaps that's when I would find it most relatable. Maybe that was just the pulse of college grads in the 90s. So I thought, when I first took away, I thought, well, somebody had to relate to this on a really, certain level. I could not. I thought it was, I mean, it's an 80s movie, so I don't know if I'd give it thumbs up or thumbs down. Like, it's as an 80s movie, I guess I'd give it a thumbs up because it's got all of these just great, besides the actors, the fashion, it's just an iconic
But I think
movie.
It's too difficult to put yourself in that situation and to say, okay, if it was the 80s, I'd probably like it. Well, maybe, but I think it has more to do with the age that we are now rather than the time period we're living in. Because I think you could show some kid who's 14, 15, 16 years old this movie now, they'd probably like it, I think. Because they don't know any better. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, now what you were saying before, when you saw it as a kid, or when you were, what did you think about it?
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was I thought it was amazing. Like, I thought this must be what life is like. This must be what you get out of college and you have all these responsibilities, and oh my God, it's going to be so out of control and so crazy trying to. But then once you reach that age, like, I think even if I'd watched it when I was in college, it would have felt terrible.
Oh, I would have,
and it would have felt so phony, right?
Yes, and just the whole. Well, that's what I mean. So maybe, I don't know. Yeah. What about you?
I couldn't recommend this. I really couldn't. I mean, I would say to people, go to YouTube and look at some clips. Like, watch the scene where he's playing the saxophone. It truly is great. Like, it's such a bad scene. It's the most 80s this movie is, except for just what Jules' apartment looks like.
Right.
And
Agreed.
if you can find... See, that's the thing, is that Rob Lowe's character is clearly the worst, but the scenes that are worthwhile are the ones with him or Demi Moore in them.
True.
Like,
well, I don't know. Some of those stalker scenes really
that felt like a separate movie. It was so weird. It was so strange.
Exactly. And just his correlation with again, none of those friends ever tried to stop him. None of them said, I think you're going a little overboard for this girl.
Maybe Jules and, what's his name, Rob Lowe, weren't that great, but everybody else was just so bad. They were just so boring. Like, Andrew McCarthy moped his way through this entire movie.
Oh, I know it.
Any scene with him in it, I was instantly depressed, and I wanted it to end because I knew it wasn't going to be worthwhile.
It was the same little spiel that he kept doing as this character. It was almost like his character had this same, like, rotating, like, everything's an illusion. Marriage is an illusion. Life is an illusion. Love's an illusion.
Of like, and what a pretentious asshole. He finally gets an article published, and the title is The Meaning of Life. I wanted to pause it and read the article, because you could see some of the article. I really wanted to do that. Maybe I will, because I would love,
you might have to.
I would love to see what it says, because that's that's the worst. It's the worst. But I couldn't recommend this. I really couldn't. It's not worth it. So that's it.
Yeah, I will have to agree.
Yes. Oh, the other two other great pieces of trivia about this. Rob Lowe won a Razzie for his performance.
I'm not surprised.
You know what?
How the rest of the cast didn't.
Right. That surprised me that he won. And nobody else did. Like, unless he beat out everybody else. Like, everybody from the movie was nominated and he won. Right.
Well, he does have, I mean, he's got the biggest role, I would say. I mean,
No, he won for worst supporting actor.
Oh!
Emilio Estevez was top billing.
No joke.
Yeah. And he's in half the movie, I feel like.
And oh, wow.
Yeah. And just one other piece of information here.
Please.
The role of Jules. Okay. Do you know, Joan Cusack was offered the role.
Wow, that would have made it a little more interesting. She was like, I cannot.
Right. Jodie Foster offered the role, turned it down.
Yeah, I could not see Jodie Foster taking that seriously.
And a Good Times, Great Movies favorite, Tatum O'Neal, offered the role, turned it down. So,
Tatum!
Yes. Yeah, so I'm sure that all three of those actresses are people that we're going to see soon enough at some point.
Yes,
but they were not in this, and somehow Demi Moore got it and just rasped her way through her entire performance. When she talks to him about being gay, I couldn't understand a word she was saying. I was like, do I just have the volume down really low? But no, it's just she's so raspy and she's whispering. Anyway, what would you recommend? Would you recommend anything instead of this movie?
Well, I have to say the movie that I did see that is kind of, but it's of a different age, but it's the same sort of coming of age of a group of friends. The Big Chill, which is also an 80s, and so I don't know if it's fair to recommend another 80s movie, but I like The Big Chill as a group movie. I have seen that one, and I thought when I ended St. Elmos Fire, that was my thought, was like, wow, if this was the kind of because The Big Chill's about 30-somethings, and this is about 20-somethings, clearly, and I said, I just thought that it was, and of course, I mean, Reality Bites has a certain comparison level, and again, a movie maybe because it's more relatable to me, I would recommend Reality Bites 10 times over St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah, I mean, Reality Bites is funnier. It's smarter. The dialogue's better. The performances are better. Like, it's the same movie. It really is.
Yeah,
But it's just so much better. And you're right.
So much.
The Big Chill, it's like if the characters in this movie eventually got their shit together, that's what The Big Chill is. But The Big Chill, again, it's better performances from better actors and a better script.
Polished. Yes.
Yeah, it's everything that this movie wasn't.
Exactly. But so mine are very. What recommendations would you have? For us?
I have a recommendation that I thought may tie into this, because a movie I would love to see would be these characters in college.
True.
That would be because, and what I'm going to recommend is pretty recent, 2002. I don't know if you saw it, The Rules of Attraction.
Yes.
Okay. I would recommend that because, again, the characters are unlikable. They are terrible people. They're worse than these people, but it works sort of in the microcosm of college. Like, it makes sense that they're terrible people, and it makes sense that they think that they're so important in that environment. They're not dealing with homeless people. Like, it's yes, but yeah, I would recommend that. It's such a nice looking movie. There's a lot of split screen. There's a lot of like, the movie starts and you watch it for about 5 minutes, and then what you just saw plays in reverse for 5 minutes. It's really cool. There's some smart things about it, so it's worth seeing.
So basically, don't see St. Elmo's Fire. And if you've already seen it, then it's a great memory for you. But
right, if you saw St. Elmo's if you saw St. Elmo's Fire 10 years ago and you liked it, just
keep that.
You don't see it again. No. Don't watch it again.
No.
I wish I hadn't watched it again.
Sometimes these will happen.
I kind of liked it. It's this great Brat Pack movie. Oh, and I really, as I was watching, I tried not to compare it to The Breakfast Club, but I found that really difficult, and I found myself comparing it to The Breakfast Club, and Emilio Estevez was so much better in The Breakfast Club, and Judd Nelson was so much better in The Breakfast Club.
And Ali Sheedy, she was a character. She wasn't just so cardboard. I know it.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, and that came out the same year.
No joke.
Yeah, so they played high school seniors and then early 20-somethings in the same year. So, yeah, they're very talented.
Well, hardworking crew there. Hardworking crew.
All right. So I think we could sign off.
I think we fully tore apart this morning.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
We did. This is not a recommendation.
No.
So what are we going to do next week?
You
jumped the gun. Oh, next week? No, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Every 2
we
weeks.
are bi-weekly. We are a bi-weekly podcast.
That's right.
Yeah. We are going to be celebrating our fathers.
That's right.
All three of them, if we have them. Mm-hmm. If you have more than
you were raised by 3 swinging bachelors, right?
Every good girl was, don't you know? Yes, we're 3 men and not a little lady.
No. I think that's in the 90s.
Yeah, she's just a baby at this point. And I got to tell you, I can't wait for Tom Selleck's mustache. I just can't wait to see that thing flopping all over the screen.
You know what? I would think the same thing, but boy, 2 weeks ago I said, I can't wait for St. Elmo's Fire. So now I don't know what to expect.
Did you know there was going to be that much sweaty sax in Rob Lowe? You didn't. And had you known, maybe you would have been a little more reserved.
Maybe, but I think that's what kept me going at that point. It's like, this is so terrible. Oh, wait, he's playing the sax. Okay, all right. I'll give it another 10 minutes. I'll keep watching this. Yeah, so we'll be watching 3 Men and a Baby. You can follow us on Facebook.
Please do.
And Twitter. Now, on Twitter, we're still at _BeKindRewind. Mm-hmm. That's not our name, though. No, not at all.
No.
But find us on Facebook, whatever. If you're listening to us, you probably already found us on Facebook. Oh, did you see we already have 3 reviews on iTunes?
I haven't seen our reviews.
3 people, and they all loved it. So I'm assuming one was me, one was you, and one was, I don't know, my daughter got on somehow.
That's excellent. Awesome. Well, yes, if you do like us, please let us know. And if you don't like us, don't tell us, because our self-esteems are low enough as they are. You know?
That's right.
So don't tell us if you don't like it.
We already know this is not worth listening to.
Right,
yeah,
right.
You're not telling us,
this is
you're
for
not
our
telling us anything
entertainment.
we don't know.
Right.
Right.
If you're not into it, you're not supposed to be. So don't worry about it.
All right, well, that's it, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
See you then.
Growing up, you don't see the writing on the wall. Passing by, moving straight ahead, you knew it all. But maybe sometime if you feel
for you hard? No. Look, let me just introduce you to Ron. He's gay, too, and he's so fabulous.